These two have met a time or two with something on the line. Georgia, Alabama at the SEC championship game, as many of us have anticipated for quite some time. We got Anthony Dasher here, Rivals UGAsports.com. Anthony, what's going on today?
Just getting ready for a big game.
It is a big one. These
Yep.
two know what big games are all about more than anybody else in the country, and they tangle again. We've seen a 2017 National Championship game, a 2018 SEC Championship game, a lot on the line in 2020, regular season game. Georgia's got the crown. Bama wants it back, and the two get together. Well, before we get to these matchups, we've got Fran Brown, defensive backs coach, who has accepted the head coaching position at Syracuse. This is nothing new to Kirby Smart or really good elite football programs that have to lose coaches while preparing for big postseason games.
Yeah, I mean, it's something the team has been through before. Last time, I guess, would be Dan Lanning when he took the Oregon job. Only thing we still don't know yet about Fran is whether or not he'll remain with the team, through the bowl/playoffs, whichever the case it may be. But whatever he decides to do, I mean, Georgia will be just fine.
We don't normally come across a situation where a position coach is elevated all the way to getting a Power 5 head coaching job. Was everybody somewhat surprised?
Not really. I mean, Fran has had a very good reputation, for years. He's from that area. He's from New Jersey. He's done a great job recruiting that area for Georgia, and that's what they need. I mean, we talked before on this show here that it's all about the Jimmies and Joes, and he knows how to get them, at least from the area where he's from anyhow, and that's what Syracuse needs to get his program back on track.
Turning to Saturday, Anthony, the status of Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers.
Well, Brock Bowers.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Brock Bowers is going to be fine. He probably could have played this past Saturday. Ladd McConkey, a little bit more of a question mark. I think he may play some, but the ankle is still an issue, a little bit of an issue with him. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. Ra Thomas, another wide receiver, we don't think his foot will be ready to go yet. And on the defenses, well, let me go back to offensive line. Tate Ratledge, or starting right guard, we think he'll be able to go, which would be a nice, boost back for the offensive line. And on defense, Jamon Dumas Johnson, has the broken bone in his forearm. He won't be back yet. Backup cornerback Julian Humphrey, collarbone, shoulder blade issue. He will not be back yet. Smile Munn has been a little sore, kind of beat up, but I mean, it's nothing that's going to keep him from playing in the ball game.
So Stetson Bennett has been the guy the last two times against the Tide in major games. Of course, when I was opening up, I just skipped right over the 21 national championship. Too many of these games to keep track of. But, Carson Beck, a much different type of quarterback without the quarterback run in play. Not that he's completely immobile, but how do you see this passing attack and how it's developed?
The passing attack has been great, I think, all season long. I mean, one of Carson's strengths is he's got several strengths. I mean, one just starts with his arm. He's got one of the strongest arms, I think, in the SEC. But he's so quick about releasing the football. I mean, you look at the numbers against him. When teams blitz, that's when he does his best work. When I'm sure Alabama's going to do whatever it can to put as much pressure on him. But that could be playing right into Carson's hands a little bit. He mentioned his legs a second there ago. He's actually started to make more use of them the past few games. He had a couple big first-down runs in these last two ball games. So, like I said, he's not totally immobile back there. I mean, it's not like he's going to be doing zone read runs or anything like that. But if an opportunity presents itself, he's going to take off.
I don't know that we can glean a whole lot from the matchup Alabama had against Auburn, but both teams, for whatever reason, big rivalry games and playing at Jordan-Hare Stadium seems to haunt a lot of opponents. Had their issues against Auburn, but in particular, Bama could not stop the ground game, even in the absence of an Auburn passing attack. And Georgia knows what that is. Auburn's had one of the worst passing attacks in college football, but can run the ball down just about anybody's throats, and they did it to the Tide last week.
Yeah, man, that's like you said, I don't think you can take both of those games and just kind of throw them out the window. You'll see entirely different teams. I think show up in Atlanta, Saturday afternoon. But Alabama, and Georgia too, to an extent. I mean, their effort, the job they do against the run is going to be one of the keys in this ball game. I mean, Kendall Milton has done a great job these past 3 weeks for Georgia, running has 41 carries for 359 yards, 5 touchdowns in the last 3 games. And I know that's something Alabama is very concerned about for this. Where on the flip side, Georgia had its issues with Georgia Tech last week. A lot of their, the Yellow Jackets had a lot of yards by their quarterback. Haynes King had a bunch of yards on the zone read, which you look at Jalen Milroe, he doesn't really do a lot of read runs, but again, he's one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the entire country. He's one of the fastest quarterbacks in the entire country, and he's going to be the key to whatever success Alabama has on Saturday.
Bama running back Chase McClellan, a bit questionable for Saturday, should make it a go, but he got nicked up against Auburn in particular. Any matchups that you see on either side of the ball? There's just so much talent, and both teams are generally peaking. Now, Alabama, of course, needed a miracle, so they weren't peaking last week. That's for sure. Auburn outplayed them, but they pulled it out. But do you see any matchups that favor either team decisively?
Well, Brock Bowers, I think, is pretty much a huge factor. I mean, both for Georgia, obviously, and Alabama. Alabama's got some good linebackers, but I'm not sure if anybody in the country really has anybody can play against Brock Bowers one-on-one, slow him down. He's proved time and time again over the years. And if he's back even close to 100%, that's going to be a big key for Georgia. Not just what he can do on the field, but, I mean, Alabama's going to have to pay attention and know exactly where he is on the field every time he lines up, and that could open some things up for the receivers to make good plays.
Georgia's so used to winning and winning championships, both in the SEC and nationally now. I don't know that they're even contemplating. I know that the team isn't, but I'm talking about the fan base contemplating a loss and if they'll still make the playoff. But I guess that's what we're here for, is a loss to Alabama. Are people still confident that Georgia gets in?
I don't know. I'm personally not so confident, but again, because you don't really know what the committee is going to do when it comes crunch time. I mean, their job is to get the 4 best teams in the country in the playoffs. Now, I know in the past they have said, well, we want these teams to be a conference champion. But if Georgia or Michigan, whoever, if they lose the conference, championship game and the committee still thinks they're one of the best 4 teams, and I think you go that way. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's the committee I know this year with so many unbeaten teams still left, a lot of great one-loss teams. If the favorites all win this week, it's going to make for some interesting decisions that's going to be made. But I've seen different sides of the equation. People, Georgia wins opposite, and if they lose. Some people like me don't think they will, but you've got others. Kirk Herbstreit, I know, was harping on the fact that he thinks Georgia should be in regardless of what happens. So we'll see.
Do you have a thought on who you believe are the 4 best teams in the country?
I won't sound like a SEC homer here, but I think Georgia, Alabama are 2 of them. I think Michigan is 1, and I think Oregon is the other.
Okay. All right, good stuff with Anthony Dasher. Head on over to UGAsports.com on Rivals. Check out Anthony's work right there. Enjoy the game, sir. Should be a good one.
It will be.